Canada's political landscape is shifting as we approach the next federal election. The latest CBC poll tracker seat projections as of March 12, 2025 reveal a dynamic race, with the Conservatives leading but facing strong competition from the Liberals. Meanwhile, the NDP, Bloc Québécois, and Greens are vying for their share of the seats. Let's break down the national picture and dive into the regional dynamics shaping this election. The Conservative Party, CPC, is leading the race with projections placing them between 141 and 186 seats. This means they are well within striking distance of forming a minority government. And if they push toward the higher end of this range, a majority government could even be within reach. Their surge in support suggests growing public dissatisfaction with the current Liberal leadership and a potential shift in voter sentiment. The Liberal Party, LPC, currently in power, are projected to win between 111 and 165 seats. This wide range reflects the uncertainty surrounding their electoral performance. While they still have a chance to retain government control, they are facing stiff competition from the Conservatives. A strong campaign push in key battleground ridings will be crucial if they hope to stay in power. For the New Democratic Party, NDP, the projections range between 6 and 18 seats. This indicates that they may struggle to gain significant traction nationally. Their ability to influence policy will largely depend on whether a minority government scenario unfolds, where they could hold the balance of power. The Bloc Québécois, BQ, is expected to secure 23 to 33 seats, maintaining its influence in Quebec. As always, their performance will play a key role in shaping the overall balance of power in Parliament, particularly in a minority government scenario. The Green Party, GPC, is projected to win 1 to 2 seats, indicating limited but continued representation in Parliament. Meanwhile, the People's Party of Canada, PPC, and other smaller parties are not projected to win any seats at this stage. With these projections, we are looking at a tight race that could very well lead to another minority government. The final outcome will depend on voter turnout, last-minute shifts in public opinion, and key regional battles. Let's now take a closer look at British Columbia, where the battle for seats is shaping up to be highly competitive. The Conservative Party, CPC, is leading in the province, with a projected seat range of 22 to 29. This suggests they are gaining significant traction in key ridings, particularly in the interior and Fraser Valley regions, which have traditionally leaned conservative. If they hit the upper end of this range, it could be a major boost to their national seat count. The Liberal Party, LPC, is expected to secure between 9 and 18 seats. This range highlights the uncertainty in urban areas like Vancouver, where the party still holds ground but faces strong competition. The final outcome will depend on whether they can hold on to swing ridings against both the Conservatives and the NDP. For the New Democratic Party, NDP, projections place them between 2 and 6 seats, signaling a downward trend compared to previous elections. While they still have strongholds on Vancouver Island and parts of Metro Vancouver, they are facing increasing challenges from both the Liberals and Conservatives. The Green Party, GPC, is projected to win 0 to 1 seat, meaning their representation in British Columbia is at risk of being reduced to just 1 or possibly no seats at all. As for the People's Party of Canada, PPC, and other smaller parties, they are currently not projected to win any seats in the province. British Columbia is proving to be a key battleground, with Conservatives making gains, Liberals fighting to hold on, and the NDP struggling to stay competitive. The final results will be determined by urban swing ridings and voter turnout on election day. Now, let's take a closer look at Alberta, where the Conservatives continue to dominate the political landscape. The Conservative Party, CPC, is projected to win between 31 and 33 seats, reinforcing their stronghold in the province. Alberta has long been a conservative heartland, and these numbers indicate that their grip remains firm. If they reach the upper end of this projection, they could sweep almost every riding, leaving little room for opposition parties. The Liberal Party, LPC, is projected to secure between 3 and 4 seats, mainly in Calgary and Edmonton, where they have a foothold in some urban ridings. However, they face a tough challenge in maintaining their support, as Alberta voters have historically leaned conservative in federal elections. The New Democratic Party, NDP, is expected to win between 1 and 2 seats, likely in Edmonton, where they have previously seen success. If they manage to hold on to or expand their representation, it will largely depend on strong voter turnout in progressive urban areas. The Green Party, GPC, People's Party of Canada, PPC, and other smaller parties are not projected to win any seats in Alberta. While the PPC has some vocal support, it has not translated into enough electoral strength to secure a seat. Alberta remains a conservative stronghold with only small pockets of Liberal and NDP support in urban centers. The biggest question now is whether the Liberals and NDP can hold on to their limited seats, or if the Conservatives will push closer to a clean sweep in the province. Next, let's turn to Saskatchewan and Manitoba, where the Conservatives remain the dominant force, but the Liberals and NDP are still in the fight for key ridings. The Conservative Party, CPC, is projected to win between 19 and 20 seats, continuing their strong performance across both provinces. Their base remains solid in rural areas and smaller cities, where voters have consistently supported right-leaning policies. This means they are once again set to control the vast majority of ridings in the region. The Liberal Party, LPC, is expected to secure between 6 and 8 seats, mainly concentrated in Winnipeg, Manitoba, where they have traditionally performed well. However, they face a tough battle against both the Conservatives and the rising NDP influence in urban centers. The New Democratic Party, NDP, is projected to win anywhere between 0 and 3 seats, with their chances depending heavily on their performance in Winnipeg and northern Manitoba, where they have some historical support. If they fail to mobilize their base, they could be wiped out entirely in this region. The Green Party, GPC, People's Party of Canada, PPC, and other smaller parties are not projected to win any seats in Saskatchewan or Manitoba. While the PPC has some presence, it remains unlikely to translate into electoral success in this region. The Conservatives are set to dominate once again, but the real battle lies in Winnipeg, where the Liberals and NDP are competing for influence. If the NDP underperforms, the Liberals could solidify their standing, but if the Conservatives gain even more traction, they could move toward a near sweep of both provinces. Now let's take a deep dive into Ontario, the most crucial battleground province in the federal election. With its 121 seats, Ontario has the power to decide the next government, and the latest projections show a tight race between the Conservatives and the Liberals. The Conservative Party, CPC, is projected to win between 50 and 76 seats, a wide range that reflects their growing strength in parts of the province. Their support remains solid in rural Ontario, the suburbs around Toronto, and southwestern ridings, but whether they can push toward the higher end of this range will depend on how well they perform in key battleground areas. The Liberal Party, LPC, expected to secure between 41 and 67 seats, keeping them firmly in the fight for dominance in Ontario. Their strongholds remain in Toronto, the Greater Toronto Area, GTA, and Ottawa. But the question is whether they can withstand conservative gains in the suburbs. The lower their seat count, the harder it will be for them to retain power nationally. The New Democratic Party, NDP, is projected to win between 2 and 5 seats, a weak performance compared to past elections. Their best chances are in Toronto and Northern Ontario, where they have some historical support. However, unless they make significant gains, they are unlikely to play a major role in the province's overall results. The Green Party, GPC, is projected to win one seat, likely in Guelph, where they have performed well in the past. While this doesn't signal a major breakthrough, it does confirm their continued presence in Parliament. The People's Party of Canada, PPC, and other smaller parties are not projected to win any seats in Ontario, suggesting that most right-wing voters are consolidating behind the Conservatives instead of splitting their vote. Ontario is shaping up to be a two-way race between the Conservatives and the Liberals, with suburban ridings and voter turnout playing a decisive role. If the Conservatives hit the upper end of their projection, they could be on track for a government victory. But if the Liberals hold their ground in the GTA, the race will remain extremely close. Now, let's take a look at Quebec, where the battle for seats remains a three-way contest between the Liberals, the Bloc Québécois, and the Conservatives. The Liberal Party, LPC, is leading the race in Quebec, with projections placing them between 32 and 40 seats. Their strength remains in Montreal and surrounding areas, where they continue to dominate. However, they face stiff competition from the Bloc Québécois in Francophone regions. If they can maintain or expand their seat count, it will be a crucial factor in their bid to form government. The Bloc Québécois, BQ, is projected to win between 23 and 33 seats, making them a powerful regional force. Their performance will largely depend on whether they can hold off Liberal gains in Quebec's Francophone ridings and maintain their strong presence outside Montreal. The higher they climb in this range, the greater their influence in Parliament, especially if we end up with a minority government. The Conservative Party, CPC, is projected to win between 12 and 14 seats, a modest presence compared to their dominance in other provinces. Their best chances are in Quebec City and parts of central Quebec, where they have a loyal voter base. If they can push toward the upper end of this projection, it could bolster their national seat count and bring them closer to forming government. The New Democratic Party, NDP, is struggling in Quebec, projected to win just one seat. This is a far cry from their 2011 Orange Wave, when they dominated the province. Their influence has significantly weakened, and without a major surge, their presence in Quebec will remain minimal. The Green Party, GPC, People's Party of Canada, PPC, and other smaller parties are not projected to win any seats in Quebec. The province remains highly competitive, but still favors the major national parties and the Bloc Québécois. Quebec is once again playing a crucial role in shaping the federal election outcome. The Liberals and the Bloc Québécois are in a fierce battle for dominance, while the Conservatives are looking to expand their foothold. If the Liberals perform well, they could gain an edge nationally, but if the Bloc Québécois holds strong, they could play kingmaker in a minority government scenario. Now let's take a look at Atlantic Canada, where the Liberals remain dominant, but the Conservatives are making gains. The Liberal Party, LPC, is projected to win between 19 and 25 seats, keeping them the leading party in the region. They continue to hold strong support in Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and parts of New Brunswick. However, their margin of victory has narrowed compared to previous elections, making this a region to watch. The Conservative Party, CPC, is expected to secure between 7 and 13 seats, a significant improvement from previous elections. Their support is strongest in rural areas and parts of New Brunswick, where they have gained traction among voters looking for an alternative to Liberal leadership. If they push toward the higher end of this range, it could be a sign of a broader shift in voter sentiment. The New Democratic Party, NDP, Green Party, GPC, PPC, and other smaller parties are not projected to win any seats in Atlantic Canada. This suggests that the region is becoming a two-way race between the Liberals and Conservatives, with little room for third-party breakthroughs. Atlantic Canada has traditionally been a Liberal stronghold, but the Conservatives are making steady gains. If the Liberals hold on to their upper projection, they will maintain control over the region. But if the Conservatives continue to gain momentum, it could signal a broader national shift in their favor. With the Conservatives ahead but no clear majority in sight, the battle for Parliament is far from over. The Liberals remain within striking distance, and regional trends could prove decisive. As election day nears, these numbers will keep evolving, making every vote count. Stay informed as Canada's election race heats up. Subscribe now for the latest poll updates, expert analysis, and in-depth coverage. Don't forget to like, share, and comment with your thoughts on these projections.